Okay, so, and let's just go ahead and share my screen. I want to show you what the audience is seeing. Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay. Good afternoon, folks. This is Corey Babka from the Marks Group. Sorry for my mumbling in the beginning of this recording. We are actually today going through our tips and tricks for January of 2017. So this is the end of February. We're doing the previous month's tips, specifically working with a custom tab, such as a calendar or an activity list, custom fields, as well as roll-ups. And I want to go through each of those three. That's what it'll be. Figure it's probably going to be about 20 minutes. We're starting a little bit late after 3 o'clock. I apologize for that. We had a little mishap on our side with people. We had an overlap with the previous webinar. As you know, we do these every month for the 4 products that we work with. They're Dynamics, Salesforce, Goldmine, and Zoho. We actually do tips and tricks for each of those every month. So tell your friends, tell your family. What we do is every month, at the end of the month, we'll post tips for the following month. I'm actually a little overdue on my Salesforce tips for the current month, which will then be displayed, and we'll go through the webinar third or fourth week, the last Tuesday of the month. So last Tuesday of March, I will then go for the tips that I'm going to be posting in the next couple days. Okay, so that being said, just wanted to kind of go through what we've got. So you should be able to see my screen. If you cannot, please, ping me, raise your hand, whichever it is, whatever is best. I do have the window of the attendees open, so you can see that there. I also, if you need to do the chat, we can do chatting as well. Okay, I'll just move that out. And so just in case you have any questions, just please feel free to ask me. Let me know. Okay. All right. So making sure, verifying that you can see the Salesforce screen that I have in front. Just want to make sure it looks like you can, and away we go. All right, so first thing I wanted to kind of go over was the, let's just go through the tip order. And the tip order on our blog page, I had the custom user fields. It's actually, I did this tip after a client that I'm working with currently, who actually, one of their staff, the person I work with, she actually happens to be attending this one right now. There's a couple of things. The next 2 tips I'm going to show I've actually done with that client directly. So Margie, this might be review for you, but I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about what we've done for you guys. Okay, so what I did was, the first one I want to talk about is the custom user fields, which means if I go to opportunities, if I want to do something in here, for instance, right now we've got owner. We always have owner, and that's not a problem. But I had a client that what they did was they needed to have more than just an owner, like an additional rep, a secondary consultant, whatever it is. So for instance, I could do that right here. I'm going to kind of whip through this pretty quickly. I'm going to go through my edit layout, and then I'm going to go to my fields. I kind of always cheat, and I go this way because it helps me get to the opportunity field area much better. I'm going to do a new field here, and we're going to call this, it's just going to be a lookup. Okay, lookup relationship. Okay, and I'm going to link it to the, oops, sorry, wrong one, wrong scroll. I'm going to click it to the user, or link it to the user table, is what it would be, right? And this one's going to be called primary consultant, right? And we'll just call it that, okay? And it's going to be the child relationship name. Means that what happens is when I'm doing this lookup, this is a little outside of the tip, but that just means when I'm looking at the user, what's the related list that they have, and so it would be opportunities, right? So if I do this here, I say next, next, we save the field, it adds it to the form, and away we go, right? And we're back into our opportunities. So that's actually not the part that I needed to do. I can show you what this is, but this sits right here as the primary consultant. If I double click in here, it's going to go to our user table, and there's me. Okay, that's fine. I only have one user on this instance. Okay, I can put that in here. That's not the point of the tip. The point of the tip is what we had to do was, for this particular client, they actually had 4 different user fields. One was like a primary sales rep, a secondary sales rep, an additional sales rep, and then a like an engineer. Okay, so it was multiple people. And the thing is, the owner was not one of those. The owner is actually the guy that runs all the projects, right? It does all the opportunity stuff. So there's basically 5 different people that we used in its case. If I bring this over here, let me just make sure you can see this. I'm just looking at the audience here. There it is. Good. So you can see this here. What we ended up doing was there's the user, there's the owner, right? There's the sales rep field. There's the additional sales rep, and then there's a second additional, and then there's an engineer. Or I even have if the managers, okay? So now I'll tell you about what I mean by that. What that is when we went to make a custom formula, or let's go here, when I go to the opportunities and I look at my opportunities, well, that's easily enough done because you can say, well, these are all the opportunities that I am the owner. But we want to go a step further. We want to make it that my opportunities would work to the point where one of those other fields could also be me, right? And so that's what I had to end up doing. So I go to setup, go to opportunities, right? Go to the field, and I'm going to make a custom field. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong opportunity product area. Sorry about that. Fields. Okay, here's my custom field that I just built, right? I'm going to do a new one. That's a formula. Okay. Now the thing is, in this case, all I'm going to do is make it a true false. Okay, so what I'm going to do is it's checkbox. Okay, and it's called my opportunity. Is what I have it, right? I do it in here, and this is where the formula gets kind of tricky, right? Because so what I want to say is if I'm going to do an if formula, right? If then else. If you want, you can always do it this way too. I kind of usually go down here and make sure I just find if, double click it, right? And it puts it in there. So if logical test, then true, then false. So in here, I'm definitely going to replace it and just say true, right? Because that's what I want. Right, and we could do it that way. That's not a problem. The issue here is that we're going to have multiples. So I'm going to do this one here, right? I'm going to say logical test. So I can say insert, and it would be, I'm going to go look up and say that primary consultant, which is right here, is a lookup, and the user, right? It's going to be the ID on that user table, so it would be the ID here. Where is it? User ID, insert. So now you've got the primary consultant custom lookup relationship to the ID, okay, equals, and then I say the current user, which this is whenever you're doing a formula, this first set that you've got, this is the related object that you're on, or the main object. These right here are the ones that are built in, that are system. And I can say here, user, and I find user ID and insert that. So what we've got is the primary consultant equals the current user that's logged in, okay? Or 2 pipes, right? And do the same thing. I can go down here, we say owner ID, right? And we could do it that way, or we can do it, I think that works. I think in my example I did it as well. I did the owner lookup, which would be, I'm trying to look for that primary, that owner. It doesn't really have it in here for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why that lookup's not here. But I'll say owner ID, right? Insert equals same thing, that user ID, right? So I can copy this and paste this in here. And if either one of those are true, they fire off, and then I'm going to say true. Otherwise, we're going to have this as false. Check my syntax. Says we're good. Say next, next, and save. Okay, by doing that, now I can go to my opportunities, and this one here, I should be able to look at this, and there it is, see my opportunity. Why is that? Because I'm the owner. But I could also go into here, and I could say Corey, right? Look that up, and there I am, and I could save that, and this is also going to make a check. So it's going to be fine. Now, like I said in my example before, I also had something in there about the role, the actual user role, saying that if it was a manager, right? So what happens is now I go to my opportunities, and I edit my opportunity view, and instead of my opportunities, which is by default, I could say all, but I would say where my opportunity is true. And I save that. And so therefore we've got the same stuff, right? Should be the same amount. I think it should be, right? Say my opportunities, there it is. And we've got all these in here, right? And so that should be the way that it works out. It's not a problem. So it's going to be by default the same amount, right? Because of who I am and the way that my system is set up. But you can see in all of these, we've got that checkbox is done. Okay, so you can imagine what that does. It allows a lot more flexibility and allows you to use the My Opportunity area, which is what you want to do. That My Opportunity is the one that everyone loves to see and be able to do that. But if their name is in multiples or they're sharing opportunities, this is where you'd have to edit that a little bit more. Okay, and that is the end of that one there. So you can see what I did. In the blog post, I actually go through it. You go through the same thing with the different roles, and there's the role of sales manager. Here's the different lookups, right? And then that view. Excuse me. So now what we're going to do, same thing. We're going to go into this adding a calendar activity tab at top. Now I haven't done it on mine, so we're going to do it live, real time on my system. Okay, and the task at hand is this. When I go to my home page, sometimes people want to see their own task area, or they want to see their own calendar. And in our case here, what I did in the other group was we went to the calendar like this, and we wanted to see it. What does it look like? Okay, I can even go to the week view if I want instead, which is this one, and maybe that looks a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to keep this one in mind. I'm going to right click here and do my home page. But this calendar, a little tip for you, always right click and just open up a new tab. That way you can have multiple instances open. I do it here where I say, here's my calendar tab and I want to have this showing up there, right? So if I go to this, okay, and I look at it, what I'm going to do is I have to, and it gets a little bit funky because we're talking about Apex pages or Visual Force pages, right? I'm going to go to my setup area. I'm going to go to Visual Force, and I actually, Visual Force pages is what I'm going to do is go into there, and I'm going to see a whole bunch of them in here, okay? Well, what I want to do instead, I'm going to click New, okay? Actually, am I in the right place? Let me see. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. So I did develop, making sure that we're getting everything right. So if I do it this way, what I have is develop. In the setup here, I have, go to the setup area, search on Visual Force. Yeah, that's right. That's what I did. Yeah, Visual Force pages. Okay, one word, right? And we're going to go there. And on that, we're going to create new Visual Force page. And it looks like this stuff, if we can get it to load. Okay, and that's what it is. So the content itself is what, I'm going to call this weekly calendar. Okay, I'll call it that, weekly calendar. That's fine, right? Let's see, it doesn't really matter here. What matters is the code. So if I go right here and I look at this, see, this is the code that matters, right? For the code above, use the code above for activities. This is the activities. Where's the URL coming from? Let me show you, right? In here, we have this that says, here's the code. It's that that 00UC is what it is. Now, how did I find this? I honestly, I kind of Googled it. And then for the activity thing, I had to monkey around. I knew this when I found this on Google, from some other a blog post or something, just to give you an idea. But this one here, I had to kind of work out myself and figure out what it was. It took me a little bit of touch and go, playing around with it to find out what it was. So I do this here. I'm going to go back to that Visual Force page, and I am going to paste in my information that I have off my blog site. Okay, highlight all this, Control V it, and there's my calendar is what it is. Okay, and then I save that. Okay, now that's right. It's yelling at me here because I got space. No big deal. Just change that around. Okay. Now, what has to happen next? Like I said in the blog post, I said we have to add it. Okay. We're halfway there at this point. I mean, believe it or not, we're here. You can even hit preview if you want. That's what it looks like, so you know we're good, right? Now what we're going to do, though, is we're going to go to tabs. Okay, so there's my create. I just searched on tabs, and we want to go to the create one. Okay, and it's got Visual Force tabs, which is where you get a bunch of other things going on. These are the icons, so on and so forth. I've got Roll-Up Helper that's an add-in. I'll talk about that in a few minutes, actually. And I just say new Visual Force tab. Okay. We're going to give it a name. In this case, see, mine looks a little bit different, right? So mine here, when I do a new tab, I'm actually going to, it's weird. Things have changed. So I'm going to go into here and say weekly calendar is what I'm looking for. There's my weekly calendar. Tab name is going to be, tab name is going to, the label is going to be calendar, style, and here I can even find it. I can look for it if I want. This is just a matter of just pictures and such. I'm going to look for an icon, see if I can find something, some sort of a calendar in here. I'm looking to see where it is. I think there's something. We'll just go. We'll just wing it. Let's say alarm clock. Okay. And say next. Okay. Choose the availability. Where is it? Okay, and so the default is, but I can do it for different profiles. Like I can say, you know, this person's different, but I'm going to say on. And then next. And where is it? The different apps that are at there, you know, like this stuff up here is what we're looking at. These are my custom apps. Okay. So I've got like the Marks group. That's another tip that I've got in the blog as to how to do that. And I've got saved. So now I should be able to, there it is. And I can change that around. So if I look at this here, there's my calendar, right? So if I go to my home page and I start out here and I'm like, oh, you know what, I really need to see that calendar. Well, I can just click that and away we go. What I did with the custom apps before, if I wanted to, I can change the custom app around so that the Marks group, that the calendar is second. And that's what we did with these other groups. So the calendar they can always go to if they want, moves it around, and you get this extra thing that allows you to see it, as opposed to starting here and having to go over here and do all this. It just saves you a couple clicks, right? And I believe you could even bookmark this page if you wanted to, which would allow you to go right to this page when you open it up. Okay, it's nice to have. All right, so then my next piece is going to be on roll-up fields. Okay, so what's a roll-up field? Well, roll-up fields are those that allow you to do a little bit of math to a summation level to the main record itself, like the parent record. So if I talk about accounts versus opportunities, and I want to roll up maybe a count of the opportunities at this record or the total revenue. There are some limitations. Like I would love to say, like for instance, when I go to accounts, okay, I can look at East Coast surfacing, right? I can look here and you see I have one contact, okay? Well, what I have in here is there is a number of primary, I'm trying to think if I have it out here, number of weeks, where's my number of primaries? I have a contact list that actually, there it is, number of primary contacts. So you notice how this one's 0, right? Well, that's because no one on this list is a primary. If I go instead, and I'm going to pick on Margie, who's also on the phone, if I say SmartVent, okay, and I go here, you can look at SmartVent, and I have one primary contact, okay, and that contact is Margie. If I wanted to check the box next to Brian, it will roll up and do a count. It will tell me there's 2. Reason I do that is when I'm doing my quarterly email blast out, I have to make sure that all of my customers have at least one primary contact because that's who I'm going to send it to. If I have contacts or accounts that do not have a primary contact, I need to figure that out and find a view. That's why I have things here called accounts with no primary contact. These are my customers without, see? And that, well, yeah, that's that one company we were just looking at should be in here, but it's not just because I don't have them as a customer. Yeah, is what it is, right? So this is a little bit different of a view, but it is a customer view that says number of primary equals 0, right? I could also do equals blank because that's probably what it also is doing. Okay, so my roll-up, now that's a nice thing to have, and that'd be great if we could do that, just count the number of contacts. Unfortunately, there's limitations. So let's go ahead and create a new one. I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to do account. And you would build it on the parent record. Okay? So I have one already that is called total revenue, I thought. That's what I did. Where's my roll-up? I'm going to sort it by type. And I can't sort it by type. So where's a roll-up? Roll-up, 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 roll-up. And I do not have a roll-up, so that's fine. We're just going to create it. Okay, we're going to do a new field. And we're going to call it a roll-up summary. It's a read-only field. That is important. It is read-only. It's not something that you can edit or anything like that. Okay? Say next. We're going to call this total opportunity revenue. I would say, actually, we're going to go a little bit different. We're going to say open. Okay, I'll show you what I mean by that. Go here, done, and next. Okay, now right away it tells me what's summarized and what object, right? And here you notice I only have opportunities. Now we both know that underneath the account there are so many different child records. There's activities, there's contacts, there's opportunities, there's projects, there may be custom objects, all those different things that you're looking at. That's fine, but here's my opportunities, right? So I have opportunities here, and we are limited to what is out there. And it has a lot to do with what type of record. Contacts, for instance, is the one that everyone wants to do, but you can't. Opportunities, you can do opportunity products. As a true parent-child, that works. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a summation, a sum, and I'm going to say expected revenue. Okay, now this is the one here. What did I do? I said open. So I'm going to say here, open only records meeting certain criteria. So I say only where stage is not equal to closed, won, or lost. Okay, and if I do that and say next, and I say next, and account layout, that's where we're going to put it. Okay, and away we go, right? I go back to my account level. I'll see if I can find one. I'm going to find it here with the opportunities first. Here's my opportunities go. See if there's any revenue. There's one for 12 grand. So let's just do this one just for the heck of it. I'm clicking on the account and cheating. And you can see that there is my total open revenue. Now, the thing is that's open opportunity revenue. And I think I got 12,000. And the reason why that's a little bit goofed up is because I'm using the wrong field, right? I need to use amount, not 20. This is doing expected revenue is the amount times the percentage of the probability. That's why we're a little goofed up. So let's go back. And this is, I just totally just messed this up. This wasn't part of the learning experience for the tip, but now you know what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and edit this field again. Okay. And I'm going to look at not expected revenue, but amount. And now I save it. And then I'm fine. If I go back to where I was in my recently viewed of Little Pim, okay, now I have $12,000. That's my total open opportunity revenue. You can even put this on the view if you want. Like I can go to my views and I can look at, all accounts. I can edit this to show and put in that total, where is it, right? Total open opportunity. I can display it even here, which is really nice because now there's my view. See that? I can actually look at these things and it's doing it on the fly. You see there's my different account, my open opportunities, and that roll-up is really, really nice. You can do it. You noticed, Margie, for if you're thinking about orders, can't do orders, right? It's not on there as a child record. We can try it out, but it's probably not there. Opportunities are there, opportunity products, contacts, even that. If I want to do a contact one, let's just go see customize. Contacts, fields. I'm going to do a new roll-up. I want to show you what's in there. So I do this new. I say roll-up. And see, roll-up's not even there. Okay? It's not the master in a master detail relationship. That's the issue. Like you have to have this master detail thing, which goes into a whole other level of hell, to be honest with you, of what you need to work with. But I'm going to go look at those orders and see what I can do in orders. See, orders don't have the same thing. I can do a new here. There's a roll-up. Next, the only thing you can do on an order right? I'll do it this way. The only thing I can do is order products because that's a true master detail relationship. With, I think you can monkey with accounts and contacts to make it a true master detail, and it will show up with contacts, but I messed with it before and I can't do it. So that brings me to my next point. My next point for folks is that I do it, and I actually talk about how I use it for my at least, my roll up, or my number of primaries, right? I do it by I said here, let's see, where's my primary? Yeah, my number of marketing contacts, right? I do that. Well, but what happens is because I need this, there's something called a roll-up helper, and that's what I actually use. Okay, the roll-up helper, if you're not finding the thing that you need, right? It's my roll-up helper right now. It's a free item out there. They do so many for free, and then it gets, to be frank with you, it's not cheap, but you can do a bunch. You can do, I think, up to 4 for free. And that usually works for me for a lot, right? I mean, if you're going beyond 4, then you need to start, you got to dish out a couple coins for the add-on, but it's worth it. It allows you to almost do it for any record. Like I could do number of activities per account, number of contacts, number of primary contacts. That's what I do now, where it can search on checkboxes and do dates. The downside is it's not real time. It's scheduled. Like you can have it do it like every 24 hours or every 12 hours. It will run the math and it will do it, but that's what you're looking at. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I am all good, and we're all set. So that's it for now. I just got a text from one of my people that she's got to do this at 4 o'clock. So therefore, someone's trying to kick me off on my side, and we're all set. Okay? So thanks for joining. I'm going to stop the recording now. But if there's any questions or anything you need to get me at, you can get me at Corey@marksgroup.net, Corey@marksgroup.net. Just feel free to follow up with me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to post this up as well. You'll get the recording. It will be up on our YouTube channel. All right? Enjoy the next few weeks, and maybe we'll talk to you again during the next webinar. All right. Thank you, folks. Have a good one.